Hi guys, hope you're well. Today we're going to be carrying on discussing your jerks. Okay, so obviously in the last video we went through your jerk dip and drives, okay, making sure that you're comfortable with those and you understand the movement there. So obviously today we're going to go through that catch position. Okay, so with your catch position there's generally two parts that tend to go a little bit wrong. Okay, either there's your foot positioning, all right, or there's your lockout. Okay, and if either of those things are slightly off, then particularly at heavier weights when you're getting close to your max, then that can really throw you off with your split jerks. Okay, so with that foot position, first of all right, obviously what we're really looking for is a really nice even split between your feet. Okay, we want both feet moving the same kind of distance, because that's going to mean your torso and then obviously the bar is going to stay moving in a straight line. Okay, if there's any forward movement in your bar or in the bar or your torso, that's going to make it much harder for you to stabilize the weight. You're going to feel like you're either leaning too far forward, which is most common, or occasionally too far back. Okay, so that's why we want both feet moving exactly the same kind of distance, so you're not being pulled forwards or backwards by your feet moving. Okay, generally, or sometimes, like the most common mistakes that we see is either the front foot kind of shooting forwards or the back foot shooting backwards. Okay, or one foot moving so that you end up with your front leg really close to your hips, so you end up with your knee really far forwards, and then again that's just going to make you tilt your torso further forwards to kind of compensate for that balance, which again is just going to tilt that bar forwards. Okay, so obviously the position we want to look for is a nice even split. Okay, on your back leg you're going to be on your toe with that small bend in your back knee. On your front leg, your foot's going to be completely flat, and you're just going to make sure your shin is either vertical or almost vertical, so that you stay nice and balanced in that position. You can keep your weight around your midfoot to your heel, and like I say, that's just going to give you that stability. Okay, obviously I just touched on that back leg briefly there. I know for some people it can be a little bit difficult getting to grips with that back leg and whether you want to go fully straight or slightly bent. Okay, generally going slightly bent is always a little bit better, just because it acts as a little bit of a shock absorber, so when you do land you don't get that sudden jolt through your shoulders when you catch the bar. Okay, so just having that small knee bend in your back knee, it doesn't need to be anything crazy, is just going to make that catch position feel much more comfortable, much more balanced, much more stable. Okay, which obviously is what we're looking for at the high weights. Okay, obviously then with your arms and your overhead position, you want to make sure that you're catching that bar with fully locked out arms. Okay, if you catch it with a slight bend in your arms, it's going to make it much harder for you to hold the weight, because you're not going to be fully stable. Okay, because when your arms are locked out, you've got all your joints stacked on top of each other. It's much easier to support a heavy load than when you've got a slight bend in your arm. All right, and you're taking that weight much more through your triceps and shoulders, which obviously at heavier loads is going to make it a lot harder for you to either stabilize and press out, or just to hold it at all. Okay, if you think what you can strict press or push press versus what you can split jerk, there's quite a big difference there. All right, and a key part of that is catching the bar in that locked out position, so everything's stacked and you can support that weight much better. Okay, obviously part of that as well comes from not just extending your arms, but extending through your whole upper body. Okay, so instead of just being here with your arm locked out, you're shrugging through your shoulder as well, so you use all the muscle in your upper back to help support the weight. Okay, and again at heavier weights that's going to make a really big difference. Just like I say, because there's more muscle there supporting the weight, you're going to be able to hold that position much more comfortably, and you're just going to be able to maintain that position with heavier weights much easier. Okay, so don't just think about locking out your elbows, really push up into the bar, and it's going to make you nice and stable in that position. Okay, when you're in that split position as well, obviously we want to make sure that your arms are in line with your shoulders. Okay, you don't want to have your arms slightly in front of you, because again that's going to be pulling you forwards. Your joints are going to be stacked on top of each other. It's going to be much harder to hold a heavier weight. Okay, so you always want your arms, or you want to, if you imagine the bar up above your head, you're going to be able to draw a straight line through the end of the bar into your hands, elbows, shoulders, and then ideally dissecting your hips. All right, right in the middle of your split. That's the best kind of position that we want that bar to be in. Okay, so either what happens there is if you dip a little bit forwards, or you're a little bit anxious about if you're going to make the weight or not, sometimes you press the bar forwards. Okay, or sometimes you press the bar straight but you lean back. Okay, and again it has the same effect. You end up in this position instead of this position. Okay, so obviously make sure you're pushing the bar up straight, punch your head through. Okay, so that bar is going to be coming back over your shoulders. Keep your chest up. All right, and then obviously your footwork will take care of itself. okay? And that's just going to give you the best possible chance of making the lifts when you get up towards those heavier weights, okay? So just a couple of things to focus on. Obviously, elbows fully locked out, bar in line with your shoulders, and then making sure you're getting a nice even split, both feet moving together with that small bend in your back knee, trying to keep that front shin as vertical as possible, okay? I hope that's helpful, guys. Obviously, as always, if you've got any questions, then feel free to give me a shout.